Prates versus Garry just went down, and these are the fights that I think should be made next. Now, starting off with Ian Garry. Ian Garry, he said he's going to be weighing up for the backup for the next fight on the pay-per-view with Jack versus Belive. I don't think it's a good idea. I think he should let someone else do it, simply because a double weight cut in such a short time, no matter how big, tall, or whatever you are, obviously he's not like, he's tall, but he's not like massive for the division. I don't think the weight cut, seeing him, he doesn't look as bad as a lot of people I've seen lately. Same time, I don't like the double weight cut. I think it's unwise, and I think he should probably let like Sean Brady or someone weigh up instead, who hasn't just had a training camp. You know, let him have some healing time. You know, same time, sure, it wasn't exactly like a war that he went through, but at the same time, he threw a lot of kicks. I seen him on his story, I think yesterday or today or whatever. He just icing everything. He's in like obviously everyone does that after a fight, but he threw a lot of kicks. Give your legs a break. You know, you want to be 100% when you're challenging for the belt. You know, I know he's anytime, anywhere, and that's great, but, you know, when it comes to the belt, I think it's time to dial in and get a full training camp, fully rested, you know, and ready to go. Now, let's say he doesn't wait, or let's say the fight goes on between Jack and Belive. I don't think the UFC is going to give him the next title shot. UFC says a lot, but does deliver a lot, you know, especially with their fighters. Like, they'll say, like, yeah, you're next, you're next, you're next, but they'll promise, like, 3 guys in the division that they're next. Let's say Buckley knocks out Usman, or has, like, a really insane performance over Usman. I think, even though Usman's coming off a 3-fight losing streak, if you look into the fine lines, it's not as bad as it actually looks on paper. If you analyze each fight, if Buckley knocks him out, or like I said, dominant performance, I think they're going to give the next title shot to Buckley. What I think Ian Garry should do next, this is if he doesn't get the title shot, I think they do Sean Brady versus Ian Garry. I think that's a really good fight. Ian Garry is what? Number 7 here? Because that's the thing, he fought down for Prates. And I think, I think you do Ian Garry versus Sean Brady. Because that's the thing, Ian Garry's not even in the top 5. I like to have some order in the UFC. At least be in the top 5 before you get a title shot. I think, I think that fight's a no-brainer. I think, I think that Sean Brady versus Ian Garry, neither one I think I really want to see for the title next. I think, because Ian Garry's just coming off of a loss. He won, yes, he did this recent fight, but I think he needs one more just to completely hype up and build up his name, and especially fighting Sean Brady would be a really good fight before going to Belive, because they're very similar styles. Same thing, like if Paddy beats Arman, he'll be more prepared to go fight Makhachev, right? Because it's, you know, similar styles in a sense. I think, and then you go to Prates. I think Prates, what you do with Prates, you know, that's the thing. He lost fair and square, without a doubt. I don't think his stock is going to go plummeting down to the ground. So I don't think he has to fight like backwards. I think his name still has value. I don't think you do him against Wonder Boy, because Wonder Boy's ahead of him, but I don't know if I want to see that. I think Wonder Boy should retire. You know what? Do Prates versus Covington. Why not? You know, get Colby another nightmare match and we get them the hell out of the rankings, because Carlos Prates, I think they're still high on him. Seeing that how Dana White talked about it, you know, he wasn't, he's still 31, he still has time to prove it, all that. I think if they go upwards, obviously they can rebook the Jeff Neal fight, but, you know, if you want. But I think to get Carlos Prates back on track, you give him Covington. I think Prates knocks him out. I think that will get him right back on track, get the hype train right back on track. Even though Covington's not much to, you know, write home about these days, I think that's an easy win for Prates. And if they're going to go downward, I think he can do MVP. You know, MVP's at number 15. Prates is at 13. You know, you can do that, because I was going to say Vicente Luque, but Vicente Luque is booked. So is Michael Morales. And yeah, no, I think, yeah, Colby Covington. That's the thing. Colby Covington's not anywhere going to be near a belt anytime soon. He's on the downward trajectory of his career. I think you gave him Prates for sure. Get Prates a bounce back fight, a winnable bounce back fight for sure. Next, we got Anthony Smith versus Zhang Minyang. No surprises there. Anthony Smith's retiring, so I don't have to talk about him. Now, for Zhang Minyang, I'm pretty sure he called out Yuri on his social media or something after the fact. Pump the brakes, Bubba. You're not there yet. Anthony Smith was only number 15. So if he replaces him in the rankings, then, he's only number 15. I don't think you get Yuri, who's at number 2. I think that's a bit unrealistic. Now, what I think they could do next for him is I think they could do, let's see, looking up, because it was a really good performance. I think this guy's on a roll, so you can jump him up a few points in the rankings. I think you can do him versus, not Reyes, because Reyes is coming off a win. That wouldn't be fair to Reyes. So I'd say probably Krylov just got knocked out, so not him. I'm going to say probably give him Volkan Ozdemir. Or, give him Volkan Ozdemir. See what he's at. Give him a top 9 fighter. If he gets through that, then you can start talking about top 5. You don't need to, every single prospect, you don't need to go jump right to the ceiling of the division immediately. I think we've learned that from a few fighters. Not completely slow roll them, but get them on a bit of a roll, Get them through Volkan Ozdemir, then we'll talk about top 5. All right. And next, Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. Now, for Giga Chikadze, I think what you can do easily is, since they're both coming off losses, I think what you can do with Giga is, because Onama's going to replace him in the rankings, so Giga's probably going to go down to number 13, 14-ish. I think what you can do is either do a Dan Ige fight, or, because I don't think Yusuf Zalal would take that, because Yusuf Zalal is right number 1 underneath him. Or not number 1, but 1 spot away. I think either you do Dan Ige, or, actually, you know what? Run the Calvin Kattar rematch. Why not? See if, because Calvin Kattar's at number 15, not looking too hot. Giga Chikadze can, avenge his loss, build some momentum with that one. I think it's a winnable fight for Giga at this point. Calvin Kattar hasn't been looking too great lately. And, good striking fight for sure. And I think with Onama, he's going to be coming up into the rankings. What I think you can do with Onama is, I think you book him versus Josh Emmett. A great striking fight. Onama showed some wrestling too, so it could be, it could be a battle of like attrition, where it's like, they swing, strike, and then do a little wrestling as well. I think they could both compete with each other. And I think that'd be a good fight. Josh Emmett is generally a gatekeeper at this point, so we'll see if Onama can get through him, because Josh Emmett's at number 10. Get through him, then we'll talk about top 5 and, above the top 10 rankings. But yeah, get through the gatekeeper, and then we'll see what's what, because I don't think any of these guys above Josh Emmett would want to have any part of that. And I think it'd be a good entry fight into the top 10 for sure. All right, next is Michelle Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. I think they should both be cut, honestly. I don't really give a shit to watch either one of them fight again. If they do, Michelle Pereira, he's going to be unranked, so I don't really care what you do with him. Abus Magomedov, I honestly, that was the thing, not to be like a dick or whatever, but I really just don't understand how these two are ranked in the UFC. Or in the UFC to begin with. Having a round and a half in cardio, I went off on my other video, but yeah, to keep it short and sweet, I think for Abus, he's going to be in the top 15, because, Michelle was number 14. What I think you do with him, let's see the middleweight rankings here. Michelle, Augusta. You know what? Give Abus Magomedov, because, he's booked. Either give him Brandon Allen, or Marvin Vettori. I think, yeah, probably do Marvin Vettori. Get Marvin a win. You know, if you heard what's going on, I think Vettori had some tragedy lately. Give Vettori an easy matchup because, you know, I don't want to see Vettori like fall off the face of the earth because I really do miss his press conferences. I really do miss him being in the action. You know, he's a good promoter. Is he the best fighter? No. Will he ever be champion? No. But I say give him a boost because that's an easy fight, especially if you do a main event on a fight night or something. That's an easy win for Vettori. Vettori has a gas tank. You know, he's not going anywhere. Abus can hit him with a kitchen sink and he'll still keep going. And generally, that's all Abus got is, you know, a one moment where he's going to rock you and then, you know, he'll stop fighting because, you know, he doesn't have the cardio to finish it. And yeah, that's about that for that. Yeah, I don't care what Michel Pereira does. I think he should retire. I don't have any patience for that. I don't know what's going on with you, man, but if you can't get at least 3 rounds of cardio in a fight, I just don't think you're at the UFC level. I'm sorry. So I don't care what you do with him. All right, Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. What I think you should do with Randy Brown, let's see, welterweight. I think he'll be close to these rankings for sure. I don't think either one of them were ranked. No, none of them were ranked, but yeah. Randy Brown still has potential for sure. I think what you do is give Randy Brown MVP. You know, I don't think Randy Brown took much damage in this fight. I think that's a long striking match. You know, I think the rest of the division's booked up near the lower part of the rankings. I think that's a no-brainer matchup. I think it'll be a great on the feet. You know, it'll be really amazing to watch, and especially since Randy Brown, I think he'll be able to cut off and engage with MVP more than other people because he has the frame to match MVP, as opposed to MVP just dancing around a lot of his other opponents. And yeah, let's see what Randy Brown can do with that because MVP is somewhat of a star, and you know, reward Randy Brown for this crazy performance. Give him a good name. Not at the top 10 or anything, but, you know, give him a name. Something so that if he wins, it'll be like, whoa, you beat him? Holy. Because no one really knows Nicholas Dalby. He's not a big household name. And, yeah, for Dalby, he's getting old, man. I think he really take a look in the mirror and, you know, consider retirement for sure. I think he definitely consider retirement. I don't really want to watch that guy fight again. You know, he was just getting beat up the whole time. Like, you know, it's a young man's sport. Call it a day, man. You know, let's be realistic here. And yeah, no. Next fight, we got Ikram Aliskerov coming off a round 1 TKO. Very, very impressive. I think what you do with him is, let's go to middleweight. All right, so Costa and Kopylov, I'm pretty sure, are booked. Michel Pereira is going to be replaced by Abus Magomedov. I don't think they're going to fight each other, Magomedov or Ikram, so that wouldn't be a fight. You know what? Do him versus Brendan Allen. Yeah, do Ikram Aliskerov versus Brendan Allen. Let's see what Ikram can do against another grappler, you know, higher up in the rankings. I don't think Brendan Allen's going to be as easy of a fight as Andre Muniz was. And, yeah, I think we'll see good grappling exchanges. And I think, yeah, it'll give Ikram a chance to bounce back into the rankings and make a name for himself. Because, yeah, I don't think Brendan Allen is that great these days. Yeah, I think Brendan Allen versus Ikram is a good matchup for sure. And, no, I think Ikram deserves a bump up in the rankings and see if he can make a name for himself. And, yeah, Andre Muniz, I think same thing. He's getting old. I don't really care what they do with him. And, yeah, thanks for watching and like and subscribe. See you guys next time.